What comes to your mind when I say the word addict? Most likely, you're thinking of someone laying on the side of the street without having any idea of their surroundings. The fact is, most of us have our own ideas about how a drug addict looks or what makes them do the drugs that they're choosing to do. But the truth is, anyone can become addicted to drugs. If there's one thing that drugs don't do, it's discrimination. Drug abuse is a deeply infested societal issue that needs to be addressed by the authorities and be taken seriously by the public. Scientists around the world have spent thousands of hours and billions of dollars to understand the psychological and biological effects of these fatal substances. Yet we still haven't had a breakthrough to stop the use of these harmful substances. Perhaps we're spending too much time studying the effects of drugs, but we have not taken a closer look at the facts about what causes an individual to even make the deadly choice. Why is it being used at such a vast scale, and no one has been able to do anything to stop the spread of these silent killers? Sociologist Elliot Currie, in his research on drug abuse in 1994, discovered some hidden facts of our society that direct the light on the facts of our society that might explain why drug abuse is so vastly being accepted and what is making this the biggest and most dangerous issue in our society. One of the most common and obvious issues that contribute to the use of illegal substances come from financial inequality. Elliot Currie, in his research, observed that the use of drugs in urban residents, most of them poor, reflect the impact of poverty. He stated that serious drug use is not evenly distributed. It runs along the fault lines of our society. It is concentrated among some groups and not others. And it has been like this for almost half a century. He also discovered why some drugs are illegal, and the penalties for these drugs are far harsher than some drugs that are similar pharmaceutically, but they're not being penalized as harshly as the other one. For example, the penalties for crack are much harsher gram for gram than those for powder cocaine. Even though the two drugs are pharmaceutically identical, crack users are primarily poor Americans living in urban areas, while powder cocaine users are primarily upper-class Americans, most of them pretty wealthy. This research and many others like him help explain why crack use grew in the inner cities during the 1980s, as these areas remained poor even as the US economy was growing. Inner city youth was attracted to heroin because the physiological effects of heroin make them forget about their circumstances, and the subculture of heroin, using an illegal drug with friends and buying the drugs from dealers and so forth, was an exciting alternative to the bleakness of their lives. Heroin use also became popular in inner cities during the 1960s for the same reason. Most drug use in poor urban areas result from poverty and other conditions affecting in these areas. These people turn to illegal drugs partly to feel better about their situation and partly because the illegal drug market is a potential great source of income that does not even require a high school degree. People affected by social inequality find refuge in music and movies that glamorize their choice, which arises another fact about why drug use is so normalized and accepted by the vast majority of youth. They are getting bombarded by messages about drugs in music videos and movies. University of Liverpool conducted a study on media and drug use. They found that 1 in 3 songs and said something about drugs, alcohol, and tobacco use, and 3 out of 4 rap songs talked about drug, alcohol, and tobacco as a sign of power. They also found that out of top 100 movies in the last 10 years, more than 70% showed characters smoking. And 1 in 3 movies show characters getting drunk. But it doesn't stop at just movies and music. Multinational companies that own the production of these drugs and harmful products like tobacco spend billions of dollars in the marketing of legal drugs. Alcohol, tobacco, and many prescription drugs that often have harmful consequences to our society contribute to this. To maximize their profit, these companies do their best to convince Americans and people around the world to buy their product. They also spend billions of dollars to lobby Congress and alter the law. As the tobacco industry hid for many years evidence of the deadly effects of its products, all of these efforts illustrate the role of these corporations that they have in our society. These facts indicate the failure of our system, which is causing the mass murder of countless lives. Most of those affected are teenagers and young adults that hold the future of our society. We must acknowledge and work together to stand against the authorities and our legal system to lower and eliminate the use of these deadly substances. Thank you.